Egyptian mythology is highly recognizable, particularly with the recent Moon Knight series. But could you tell me the 10 most powerful Egyptian gods? And just so you know, Khonsu is on this list, yes. If you can, please go ahead and subscribe. Also rate the video, leave your like, because that really motivates me to keep making these videos, all right? If you can help me even more, use the thanks button down below, and you can donate any amount with it. Become a channel member for early access to videos in the channel's Discord. The crocodile god of ancient Egypt has several names. It can be Sebek, Sobek, or even Sushu. And I actually wouldn't even need to talk about him that much, after all. He's a crocodile, right? That alone shows he's very powerful. Some Egyptians believe that, actually, it was Sobek who created the world. It's no coincidence that one of his names is Sebek-Ra. According to legend, he emerged from the primeval waters of Nun and ordered the entire universe. Sobek was also a deity of vegetation, fertility, and life. The creation of the Nile River by Sobek from his own sweat was the reason for all of this. The Nile was very important to the Egyptians. Sobek, after emerging from the primordial waters, purportedly laid eggs on the riverbank, creating the land. Though he created almost everything in this version, he wasn't exactly good. As a crocodile, he was unpredictable. He occasionally leaned toward evil. As an extremely strong and bloodthirsty man, he was also considered a father of armies. Sobek could also be seen as a kind of representation of Horus, because Horus supposedly used the form of a crocodile to recover some parts of Osiris's body from the Nile. But Sobek also helped with Horus's birth, so that version doesn't make much sense. Anyway, he is considered the father of Khnum, Khonsu, and even Horus in some versions. Anubis was not his real name, but rather the Greek version. In Egyptian, he was called Ampu or Impu. He is probably the most well-known Egyptian god, and as you probably already know, he had the form of a man with a jackal's head or a jackal lying down in a sphinx-like pose, where he would be waiting for someone or something. Originally, Ampu's parents were Ra and Hathor, but later the stories ended up changing, and so did Ampu's story. His parents would now be Osiris and Nephthys, or Nephthys and Seth. In the case of Osiris being Ampu's father, that would be a problem because actually Nephthys is married to Seth, so that would be a betrayal. Seth discovers his brother's actions and kills Osiris. Ampu, using mummification and his knowledge of the aspect of life, brings Osiris back. But in this return, Osiris stops being a god of agriculture and becomes a god of the dead and also of the underworld, and Ampu takes on the role of guiding souls. Osiris is the Egyptian god of death, renewal, and resurrection. He was the son of Gabinah, the brother of Isis, who was also his wife, and of Nephthys and Set. Osiris is easily recognizable. His most famous children are Horus and Ampu. Unlike other Egyptian gods, he doesn't have the head of an animal, but rather that of a human, and his body is completely mummified. He also wore a false beard named Osiris and carried a staff. He was one of the oldest gods of Egypt and also a powerful commander of the underworld and the dead. Osiris also had green skin, and the Egyptians related this to the nutrients of the earth, which were so necessary for agriculture. The Nile's flooding brought nutrients to the land, a process attributed to Osiris. He also taught agriculture to the Egyptians. There's a story about the death of Osiris that I covered in a video about Seth. If you want to see the story, I'll leave it here in the card and also in the description, but just know that the video is a bit old. Briefly, Seth deceived Osiris into entering a sarcophagus, which he then cast into the Nile. Isis even managed to recover Osiris's body, but Seth found out, went full Zed on him, and then scattered all the parts of Osiris's body throughout Egypt. But again, Isis recovered him and Ampu resurrected him. Isis was the great mother of Egypt and was also both the wife and sister of Osiris. She and Osiris took part in many stories that mainly focus on resurrection and also rebirth. The cult of Isis was so important and so widespread that it spread to Greece and also to Rome. In Heliopolis, Isis and her brothers Set, Osiris, and Anubis, alongside other gods like Ra, Shu, and Thoth, were members of the Ennead, a group of gods involved in creation. Isis was linked to magic, and in one tale, she uncovers Ra's secret name to use in her potions. I'm going to tell this story in a very summarized way, because I've already talked about it in another video I made in a battle I did between Ra and Tupa. If you're interested, I'll leave it in the card and description. Isis manages to use a serpent to bite Ra's heel, and he feels a lot of pain, and he ends up revealing his secret name to her. Khonsu, or Khonsu, was the Egyptian moon god, also associated with knowledge, healing, and time. Worshipped mainly in Thebes, he formed a triad with his parents Amon and Mut. Closely linked to Thoth, another knowledge god, Khonsu played a role in world creation legends. Highly revered for healing, a legend claims he personally healed Pharaoh Ptolemy IV. But despite all that, it seems that Khonsu had a certain duality, since he could also be very evil. He was once an evil, violent, and very dangerous god. He even tried to have other gods devoured, but in the new reign he became a benevolent god. Sekhmet, the daughter of Ra and wife of Ptah, is the ancient Egyptian goddess of disease and vengeance. She is also a goddess of war, responsible for destroying all enemies of the gods Ra and Osiris. And she is unpredictable, mainly because of her temperament, which is uncontrollable. I've already told the story of Sekhmet here on the channel, but just so you can understand, I'll summarize it. Once, Hakabo got upset with humans, so he decided to take revenge. He created Sekhmet and asked her to wipe out the humans, but she started killing everyone, even the innocent ones. Regretting his actions, Hakabo worked with surviving humans to create a drink that he offered to Sekhmet. She fell asleep and he turned her into the goddess Hathor. Set is the god of violence, betrayal, chaos, storms, and everything else that's bad in the world. I'm biased since Set, Osiris's brother, is my favorite god, but let's discuss him anyway. And if Osiris is easy to recognize because he has a human head, Set has the head of an unknown animal. Although he has already been associated with several types of animals such as scorpion, donkey, dog, pig, and many others, what appears on his head is the Set animal, also called the typhonic beast. And they never found an animal really similar to this one in nature, so it's probably an animal exclusive to Set. After Set killed Osiris, he ruled Egypt for a certain time until Horus appeared and took the throne for himself. After that, Set ended up getting a position on Ra's boat, where he helped kill Apophis. In fact, he killed him more than once, right? He did this nearly every night. For more about this story, check out my video on Ra's boat, linked in the card and description. The renowned Horus, son of Osiris and Isis, was seen as Ra's embodiment on Earth. He defeated Set, bringing light to Egypt. His right eye was the sun, and his left eye was the moon. His head could be that of a falcon or a hawk. He was the manifestation of the solar plane on Earth and also the principle of fire. And that's why over in Greece they connected Horus to Apollo. Amon wasn't a very worshipped god originally. He shared attention with several other gods there in the city of Thebes. But at a certain point, he was connected with the god Ra. Then he became the main one. But unlike other gods, he didn't represent something specific. His name, which was Amon, meant hidden. In other words, he was that which is intangible, immeasurable. That's why sometimes he appeared representing the wind or the air, but actually he represented the very hidden nature of life. Amon was so powerful that he was called the pharaoh of the gods. Ra, the principal deity in Egyptian mythology, is credited with creating the world and the other gods. During the day, he would sail across the sky in his boat. At night, he journeyed to the underworld to fight Apophis, ensuring the day's rebirth. Ra has been linked to various Egyptian gods, so it's typical to see an Egyptian deity with the prefix Ra in their name. Examples include Sobek Ra, Nun Ra, and Ta Ra. That's all for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. So if I missed any gods, let me know in the comments. Remember to subscribe and like the video. See you next time. Bye.